Chopper is heading to the scene. We have crews on the ground heading there as well. So that ADOT camera you were looking at is from the Durango curve looking south. So that gives you an idea of where this is. So if you're looking at the area of Phoenix, central Phoenix, downtown Phoenix, this is maybe a mile west of the state capitol. So it's off the I-17 near, what is this, Buckeye Road. So it's in a neighborhood in that area. This is a largely industrial area. At this point, we don't know exactly what's burning there, but this neighborhood is full of a number of different scrapyards and junkyards and mechanics businesses and just industrial type businesses as well. No word yet on what exactly the initial call was or who perhaps at a business down there made the call. But there are reports from people on the scene saying this has spread to multiple buildings at this site. I think, Derek, it started, we first caught a glimpse of this huge plume maybe about 15 minutes ago. It went up very quickly.
Yeah, not long ago at all. And as we're speaking, this thing just got upgraded to a third alarm fire. So we just got word from a Phoenix fire captain that they are, their public information team is heading to the scene. They're going to be setting up sort of a media command post because this is a significant fire, as you can see from these images. And it is reminiscent, I would say, of a fire we saw, just a couple of weeks ago, the fire at the propane tank facility just north of Phoenix Sky Harbor, which put off a large smoke plume, kind of like this, and it burned for hours. So, you know, obviously we can't really tell what we're dealing with, what sort of materials are burning, and that obviously plays a major role. But boy, firefighters look like they have a lot of work to do today.
Yeah, it looks exactly like that. Of course, that one, the main concern at that point was those propane tanks exploding and not too far from the airport. We are waiting for any possible word of injuries at this scene. No word from firefighters just yet. Typically when these things happen, they have the initial response from firefighters, and then they have, as Derek said, the public information officers who also respond to the scene. For a situation like this, with all that black smoke, you have to imagine there's a lot of fuel going up right now. So they are going to keep firefighters at a distance. Last time we saw them on ladder trucks from quite a distance for quite a while, spraying the flames from a distance. We'll have to see how they attack this fire here as they arrive on scene. I'm sure initial crews are there by now. And then after they begin their attack of the fire, they form a plan, and then the public information officer has to go there, sort of figure out what's going on, figure out a safe place to gather information, and figure out a safe place to send media. This here is our closest look from our news chopper of the scene itself. It appears a number of vehicles are on fire, perhaps a couple buildings, a couple carports as well, and that thick black smoke is just pouring from this scene. We do see firefighters right there on the ground. They are very close to this fire, which was not the case 2 weeks ago when we saw those propane tanks exploding, presenting a major danger to those firefighters. It looks like those crews are able to get right in there, right on top of the flames that are burning.
Yeah, obvious strategic difference there in the way these two large fires were handled, the ones that we're talking about, you know, the propane tank fire and this one. Firefighters are right up on this thing on the ground, spraying these vehicles that are burning right near some sort of a carport. You know, a lot of times in a large fire, we're used to seeing firefighters use ladder trucks, and either the ladder trucks haven't arrived yet or they're just not all that useful, and they really need that lower angle to attack this thing.
Yeah, in addition to that, look, the alleys seem kind of narrow. I wonder if they can even maneuver those big trucks through there. Perhaps they're looking for the best way to get in there. And as always, the weather plays a role in this. Royal, we know it's very hot out there today. It looks like the wind's blowing a little bit too.
Wind is just beginning to pick up. There's a weather station about, a little under a half mile from this location. We have current winds out of the southwest at 8 miles an hour, gusting to 15 miles an hour. Though I would tell you, just from the old school way we used to judge winds, right now it looks like the winds on that fire are probably sustained in the range of 10 to 15 miles an hour because that smoke is hooking over and kind of hugging the ground right there. We're also going to monitor air quality for you, and we would tell you this: if you're in the neighborhood and you can smell smoke or it's getting hazy, your air quality is going down, but we may not have an air quality monitor in your neighborhood. We can tell you right now the air quality monitors that surround this area and mainly are to the east of it, because this smoke is going to move off to the north and to the the east. Right now, still have the air quality okay. The reason for that is the smoke is lifting pretty quickly away from the surface. Of course, we live at the surface. The air quality will be degraded above the surface as this fire continues to burn. But 108 degrees, and again, winds out of the southwest. And again, my estimate from looking at the way that smoke is curling over would be sustained winds 10 to 15 right now.
Interesting. And you mentioned the smoke heading to the north and to the east. Obviously, that's right at Interstate 10, and that's right at the I-17 as well, because this fire is burning just west of the 17, near 35th Avenue, 31st Avenue, I guess, is more accurate, and just a little bit north of Buckeye Road as well. And I've been trying to do a little research here on the fly and look back. There have been some notable fires in this area. It's obviously a rather industrial area. And anytime you have a lot of industrial things, I'm sure fires aren't all that terribly uncommon. But there was another recycling yard fire just a couple of blocks away from this one a couple of years ago. So it'll be interesting to see if when we talk to firefighters, if there are any similarities and differences to what they've seen before in this particular area.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And yeah, it is 31st Avenue, and I'm just looking at the different businesses that surround there. There are collision shops and all sorts of auto repair shops, and it looks like a number of those businesses look just like this, with a number of old cars kind of parked in lots, maybe used for scrap and parts. And we see those firefighters there very close to the flames. They made quick work of the flames there, but boy, that trailer or RV or whatever it was is just a shell of what it was just a short time ago. And off screen, we also did see at least one ladder truck arriving on scene. Has not yet been put to use, but they do have ladder trucks down there as well. And you have to think that more fire crews are heading there with 108 degrees outside right now. This is the kind of thing where Phoenix Fire first to respond, but then they'll typically bring in crews from Glendale and Tempe and Scottsdale and the surrounding agencies as well, because it's usually the case that firefighters will work these fires for about half an hour or so in this heat and then switch out. It's likely at 3:30, the heat's going to be with us here for another several hours, and depending on how long this burns, it's likely that they'll set up kind of a mobile cooling area, a station for the firefighters who are on the ground in that very heavy equipment, sweating it out as they fight these flames. And that plume of smoke has not dissipated at all.
Though, as you see on the plume of smoke, especially on the left-hand side, we're starting to see more gray. And we all know what that means. They're getting some water on the fire, starting to get a bit of extinguishing. But that we're not getting much extinguishing on. But the more we can see this fire turn from black to that gray, that means firefighters are starting to get at least some progress onto this. Again, the wind's not helping out of the southwest at about 10 to 15 miles an hour.
And as we look and we see obviously a lot of cars, there are also some RVs and some larger vehicles that are burning as well. And it just kind of speaks to what exactly is burning here. You know, in a car, you've got potentially gasoline. Obviously, these look like these are junkyard cars and they've been sitting there a while. Hopefully, they don't have any gasoline. But you also got tires as well. And burning tires can put off quite a bit of pollution and different gases and things like benzene and things like that. So I would be curious. I think Royal mentioned we don't have an air quality monitor perhaps right in that area, but it is something that I'm curious about what is coming off of all that gas.
Well, and it's a good warning. If you're in this area, like you're working down there or driving through the area and it's getting smoky, your air quality is degrading. It doesn't matter whether we got a monitor on it or not. So roll up the windows, stay inside the house, and make sure you're not breathing this stuff for sure.
Okay, we do have a public information officer, one of the firefighters from Phoenix Fire, on the phone with us right now. We have Kim Quick Ragsdale. Kim, thank you for joining us. Are you on the scene, and what can you tell us about what we know so far, keeping in mind, of course, we know it's very early?
Yes, I am on scene currently. We do have a 3-alarm fire working right now, so we have over 100 Phoenix firefighters working to mitigate this blaze right now. It appears right now that it is trailers involved, scrapyard, and just miscellaneous items right now. We're working to get a better picture of what it is, but we do have lines down in the area. We're asking all residents to stay out of the area. Anyone traveling through, just to find a different pathway around this, and just be cautious right now with the air quality, how it is. We're asking that anyone with respiratory problems stay out of the area.
Kim, will you have hazmat crews out there to take a look at this? Because obviously when you're dealing with burning vehicles, you're dealing with a rather complex situation, potentially lots of different chemicals.
Yes, hazmat crews will be dispatched to the area. We have fire investigators out here as well, and we're also recycling and rehabbing our crews. So we have a bunch of different resources out at the moment trying to mitigate this as best we can. And we have ladder pipes set up. We have engines set up in sectors on all sides of the fire, trying to put it out currently.
Do you know if anyone was injured or what the initial call was or who that call came from? Was it somebody at this specific business?
At that time, that's unknown. We don't know the cause of the blaze at this time, and we don't know exactly how the call came in. Right now, I'm working to get more information on that. But right now, I can tell you we are working a third alarm fire, and we have quite a few resources on scene currently.
In terms of impacts to the neighborhood, this looks like a rather industrial area. Are there any evacuations nearby?
Not that I'm aware of. We do want to caution people that this smoke is very dark. It's very black. We do have some high winds down here right now, so it's blowing the smoke to the east, and we're just cautioning everybody to stay out of the area, seek shelter from the smoke, and just stay out of the area. We have a bunch of fire crews working, large trucks driving around, so just try to stay out of the way and stay out of the traffic area and the smoke zone.
Some of the information we were hearing over the scanner, I was wondering if you can confirm how far it's spread. Has it stayed on this one property? The smoke is so thick, we can't quite tell if it's jumped to another property or if it's been confined. Are they surrounding it, or is it impossible with the winds and the smoke?
They are working to surround it right now. It appears to be covering multiple properties at this area. And so firefighters are trying to mitigate it from all sides, north, south, east, and west.
Are there evacuations of any surrounding businesses? I can only see on the map there's one restaurant nearby. Most of the rest of the businesses there are kind of like scrap yards, mechanic shops, things like that. Any evacuations in that area?
Yes, life safety is utmost important, so we're going to evacuate all the surrounding areas, make sure everyone living in this area and working in this area is safe and evacuated.
Any injuries that we know of at this point, or no?
Not at this time.
And can you confirm the name of any of the business or any of the businesses that are burning?
I can't at this time.
And there we see, I don't know, Kim, if you can see it from your vantage point, but the ladder truck's up in the air. They're spraying it from the air as well in at least one location, if not two. And we looked, it's 108 degrees out there. You talked about recycling crews. What's that procedure like?
So recycling crews and rehabbing crews means that crews will come out of the firefight and they'll have their vital signs checked. They'll rehydrate, refill on air, and either go back in or be refreshed by another crew.
Kim, when you're dealing with a scrapyard fire like this, what are firefighters thinking about? Obviously, when you're dealing with a house fire, there's one particular strategy, but when you're dealing with all of these sort of unknown materials and all sorts of things, what goes through a firefighter's mind?
First of all, life safety, like I said before, is utmost important. So we want to keep our firefighters safe as well. We want to keep all the public, any citizens safe. So that is our number one priority. And then second is to mitigate the incident, right? So control the fire and prevent any further loss to any businesses, homes, any vehicles in the area.
And then do you have any idea how long something like this could burn? I mean, I know you don't, but it's clear that these things don't go out quickly, so you guys could be on scene there for many hours, right?
That's correct, yes. We have ladder pipes set up. We have multiple firefighters fighting it from all angles. And so, yes, this could take quite some time to put out just due to the size of this fire.
You also mentioned it's a 3-alarm fire now. More than 100 firefighters are out there battling this thing. Is it just Phoenix Fire, or are you getting any help from any other outside agencies?
As of right now, this is a third alarm, so we do have mutual aids. So surrounding cities will come in to assist with this fire and resources. So yes, we do have multiple cities working on this at this time.
Okay, Captain Kim Quick Ragsdale, we appreciate that. We do know that it's very early in the firefight, so we appreciate that update from the scene there tonight. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, and I'll update as I have more information. Thank you.
Excellent, thanks. Yeah, Derek, it does look like there are potentially a couple homes in this area. We keep saying it's an industrial area, and it is largely, but there do appear to be a couple homes there as well.
Yeah, and as I just sort of look at this helicopter shot, you can see really flames along a very wide swath of an area there. I mean, it looks like there's flames in the lower corner of the screen and all the way up towards the top of the screen. So when she mentioned that this fire appears to be burning in sort of multiple areas, multiple properties there, it seems like there has been a little bit of spread, and obviously firefighters want to mitigate that as much as possible. She said they're trying to battle this thing from all sides, north, south, east, and west. The winds are certainly pushing this thing towards the north and towards the east, so that has to be obviously a major area of focus. And I see Royal has been dialing in the weather maps over there.
First of all, we want to show you on our computer tower cam, which will show you the smoke from a distance. And I don't know if we can double box this so we can continue to watch the fire and also use the weather graphics, but it shows the plume of smoke that right in the area of the fire, it's really low to the ground. So as we've been saying, we don't have any air quality monitors there, but if you're in smoke or smelling smoke, your air quality has degraded. And now the plume is showing up a little bit on Doppler radar for us. In the middle of that circle, that plume from just west of the I-17 is almost going directly over downtown Phoenix. So if you're working in the downtown area, you know someone in the downtown area, tell them to stick around downtown for a while. And I know there's not many windows open down there in the big skyscrapers, but right now most of that smoke, when it is at the lower elevations, is going toward the downtown area. But luckily it is lifting pretty quickly, so there's going to be a very reduced area where we have an impact for air quality. And hopefully that air quality reduction won't last too long. Again, winds still out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour, a few gusts to 15. It's 108 degrees out there. It's another brutal day to fight a fire in Phoenix, Arizona.
It sure is, but our firefighters are the best of the best, fortunately for us, and they do have a lot of mutual aid. Over 100 firefighters are out there at the scene of this scrapyard fire burning near 31st Avenue and Lincoln Street. That's just a little bit north of Buckeye, west of the I-17 in West Phoenix. It's a busy one here in the Phoenix area today for firefighters. We see at least one tall ladder truck pouring water down from the top there. We've also seen hand crews make their way around this fire, try to contain it. But as you can see, this thing is really spread out over quite an area. It's hard for me to estimate, but a number of buildings appear to be in the fire path. We've seen a lot of vehicles burning. Certainly, this is, again, a scrapyard of some sort that has some recreational vehicles and other things, but a lot of smoke. We have seen viewers talking about this smoke for quite a ways. You're probably seeing it if you're traveling on Interstate 10 or Interstate 17. You're probably seeing this smoke in the West Phoenix area today. Jamie Soretta is joining me now.
Hi, Derek.
Getting ready for the 4 o'clock. Jamie, what are you've been watching these images?
It's been an interesting summer. It feels like the summer of the industrial fire for Phoenix. This is maybe the third one that I've counted so far. They have been big ones. The third major fire of the summer with that big dark cloud there. And as I was watching the pictures, you had referred to it, but you had the firefighters on the ground.
Yeah.
You can see at least 2 ladder trucks where they're trying to fight from the air. But you saw multiple vehicles with flames shooting out of them. I'm not sure we saw a fire just combust as quickly yet this summer as this one seemed to really travel and get into these different vehicles very fast. It was the propane fire just a few weeks ago.
Right, that
one moved
fast
through a couple cars
as
well. But this one seemed to just really take off a lot of city blocks here too. You're starting to see some maybe steam coming off, a little bit of white smoke, so they're making some progress here. Hundreds of firefighters called to the scene immediately. It was just about, 3 o'clock when we started seeing smoke out there?
3:10 or so. Yeah, exactly. And it looks like from these pictures now, it looks like firefighters are making a little bit of progress just based on the color of the smoke, which is certainly a good sign, because as we compare this back to that fire, the propane fire from a couple of weeks ago, that thing just burned aggressively for hours and hours, and it just felt like it was so hard for firefighters to make any sort of progress because they really couldn't put out the flames until they could turn off the gas.
Right.
In this case, you're obviously dealing with different materials that are burning, and so there's a different sort of a timeline, I would imagine, for the attack on this fire. We do now have kind of a nice double box with an ADOT camera where you can see sort of the scope of the smoke there, and boy, it's really billowing.
You mentioned the I-17, so people will be seeing this on their drive home. They'll be wondering what's going on. If you have someone who's going to be hit in the road, let them know that this is happening so they can avoid this area as they can. Also, you heard Royal talk about air quality. You do not want to be breathing in anything near that area as well. Look at those flames that you can see. Some of those pictures that really got my eye was just the firefighters. There are 3-4 of them on the ground with hoses dragged up to those burning cars, and you can see them on the top right here. You can see 3-4 of them walking out there, and then they really are trying to take that aerial position where they can get above it, ahead of it, and then try to mitigate any more spread of these flames. But this one is burning fast and hard, Derek.
It sure is. And you know, going back to that comparison that we've been making all this afternoon with that propane tank fire, one of the big issues with the propane tank fire is you had those exploding tanks, and firefighters had to stay way, way far away. Contrast that with what we're seeing this afternoon, where firefighters are getting really up close and personal with these flames. As we zoom in now, maybe we can see some firefighters on the ground there. They're being really aggressive with this fire. They're getting right up to it, and that's obviously a strategic decision that they've made based on the risks and everything that they're assessing.
A third alarm fire with so many different resources here. We have some new pictures for you to show.
If we can take our Google Maps page and we can show you the area of Lincoln Street, we'll just give you an idea of what it looked like before this fire got started up in this area. And it shows you that it's generally an industrial area. What you see is what you get. Oh, those are new pictures, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. Those
From the
look like,
road right there, it looks like.
right on top of it. The wind blowing out of the southwest, gusting to 15 occasionally, but really out of the southwest, sustained at 10 miles an hour. And the other big thing is the temperature. It's 106 degrees. That's just misery to fight a fire when it's that hot.
It is so hot for them. You think of the layers and layers of protection that they use with them, and then the weight of their equipment as well. And as Derek mentioned, I mean, they are just on foot out there, many of them facing that fire, pulling those hoses in this heat. And then you don't see the fire trucks, but we saw those firefighters really up deep toward that fire. So you know that they pulled those hoses a long way as well to get to their staging location. So we are sending crews out there. We're going to get some eyes on the streets for you. Look at those flames still coming out of the rooftops here. So I've seen what looks like manufactured home type structures there, steel maybe buildings, and tons of cars in this area here. We're calling it multiple industrial fires. The Kim Quick Ragsdale with the Phoenix Fire Department shared with us multiple properties. That was her phrase. Multiple properties are burning. We don't have confirmation yet on exactly the name of the business or businesses that are burning, but it's clearly an industrial area where there's some scrap yards and things like that over near 31st Avenue and just north of Buckeye. No word on any injuries, and hopefully we don't get any word on injuries, and there aren't any. And this is just sort of a very industrial business area, and that's not a concern. But obviously there could be some impacts. She mentioned they might have a little bit of some evacuations to the nearby area. They don't want people obviously anywhere near this fire. You know, this is a third alarm fire. So what does that mean? That means so many resources are out there. We've got more than 100 firefighters out there. We've got engines, ladder trucks, and so many resources from Phoenix and the surrounding areas out there. It really is incredible how quickly this thing started moving, how dark that smoke is, which means so many things must be burning, whether they be vehicles or structures at this time. And you know, we got all excited to see a little bit of white smoke, but look at the bigger picture there. We can see it's just kind of a dent on that big plume
Yeah.
of black smoke. So it is an industrial area, maybe the third that we have seen this summer. So Phoenix firefighters, they're well practiced on fighting an industrial fire in this triple-digit heat so far this summer. We do not know if anyone has been injured. We do not. I think, did Kim mention a call in, the first 911 call?
She didn't really have any info on who placed the first call, whether, maybe it was an employee at a business like this or somebody who was driving by, saw the smoke.
Right.
We don't have that info yet.
Okay,
no.
because that was information that we had with the propane fire. It was someone inside the business. So we do not know who made that initial 911 call. We don't know if anyone was maybe at this building or this facility when this fire broke out. So we don't know anything about any injuries or anyone who may be in any danger at this time. Kim was not calling for any evacuations. That's Kim Quick with the Phoenix Fire at this time, but she was telling people to avoid the area if you can. Again, this is 35th Avenue and Broadway. It appears to be maybe a scrapyard, maybe a junkyard. Lots of vehicles, some older vehicles, and lots of flames shooting through those cars and those structures too.
Yeah, and I'm checking APS, the utility. Anytime there's a major fire like this, you always wonder if there's a big power outage.
Right.
It looks like there's an outage affecting 34 customers, so it's not a large
Small.
one, but it's right in this area near from Harrison Street to Sherman Street and from 35th Avenue to 27th Avenue. So there is a little one, but not a gigantic one. So that's certainly good to see.
Yeah, and if I may, a bit of a scene
Please,
setter for you. We've got
yes.
Google Maps up and operating now, and the scene, as you know, is just to the west of the I-17, and it's just south of Van Buren. And are we going to be able to double box in the Google right at this point? If not, we'll save it. But the wind again is out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. We've got some gusts. Okay, there we go. I want to show you something
right.
that we just saw from the helicopter. This is the area where the fire is, kind of centrally located. Here's Harrison Street, and there's a bit of a break with a railroad track there, and that's where we saw some firefighters on the other side of this break pouring water in from the north to the south. Now, just to give you an idea of the neighborhood down there in terms of what Lincoln Street looks like in the area of this fire, well, let's take you down to Google Maps and show you. It is a bunch of areas of industrial companies, a lot of one-story industrial companies, a lot of cars, as you can see, that are getting stored down there as well, automobile repair folks, everything like that. So it is the kind of area that typically is in pretty good shape and doesn't burn as bad as we're seeing today. But we wanted to give you that scene setter to show you that, okay, bad news is the fire is still very strong. Good news is the direction it's burning is almost like a wildfire. It's burning into a gap, a big gap where it can't burn anything. And firefighters are probably going to make their stand there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to talk to the firefighters about the resources that they spend on a fire like this in the city, that they've been fighting so many big ones in the city versus those wildfires where they really have to evacuate small communities in some of the outer surrounding areas here in Arizona. This fire again starting just after the 3 o'clock hour. We started seeing some black smoke in the sky. Again, this is 31st Avenue and Broadway. You can see, well, really good look at that one ladder truck there shooting some water in the direction of the fire and getting some white steam coming off of that black smoke there. This fire is several city blocks. It is very large. It moved very quickly. You can still see some flames about middle screen right there. A lot of structures and a lot of vehicles in that area too.
Yeah, coming up on 43 minutes, this fire has been burning. The very first report came out at 3:07 p.m. and you can see still a lot of smoke out there. But firefighters have a lot of resources as well. More than 100 firefighters are out there, at least 2 ladder trucks. They seem to be making progress in some parts, but they seem to be also struggling with a lot of black smoke in other parts. And of course, people all around the valley are seeing this. We've had some wonderful viewer video of smoke over the roads and things like that. If you're traveling on the 10 or traveling on the 17 in West Phoenix, there's a good chance you are seeing this off in the distance. This fire burning near 31st Avenue and Lincoln it's on Lincoln. That's the closest street to it. Just a small power outage. No reports of any damage. Obviously, hazmat is a question when you're dealing with a scrapyard fire. And Kim Quick Ragsdale mentioned to us that they will have the hazmat team out there to help firefighters and also perhaps to investigate the cause as well. We've got some citizen video, Jamie.
Yeah, we do. If you see this smaller box here, this is some video from Citizen. You can see, look at that from the roadway. Royal really helped set the scene. Google Maps has done a lot with tracking these things, hasn't it? It really has changed how we've been able to look at this. This looks like cars are still rolling right through on this street, and you see that really big, heavy smoke just billowing, and it's still moving at a pretty decent pace. So they have some work to do, our firefighters do here in the Valley. I know they're calling in all the resources to get all the ladder trucks that they can and get all the firefighters that they can. Plus, they look at that picture. Wow, that is incredible. So you can see it is several city blocks here, 35th Ave and Broadway area, at least 2 ladder trucks up in the air at this current moment. I see 1 fire truck at the top right. That's where I think of those firefighters who have to do so much work, pulling that hose, getting out there in this 106 degree temperature right now, and then doing those rotations as well, about 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much heat this fire is putting off, because we're dealing with a facility that's a lot of metal, but we have seen fire burning through metal carports, burning through vehicles and things like that. So when you combine our air temperature, which is 106 plus 108, I think it was at one point, with all the heat from this, it's amazing the work that our firefighters do in all that heavy equipment and so forth. As we see the attack continues from these ladder trucks and things like that. We remarked on this earlier, but it's worth repeating. Firefighters have been able to get up close to this fire in ways that they haven't been in the other fires that we've tracked in recent weeks, like the one 2 weeks ago, that propane tank fire, where they had to stay way far back because the propane tanks were acting like shrapnel. In this case, they're able to get up there, which I think would equal a faster response and a more efficient response when you're able to get up close to the flames.
I always like checking the incident command, phoenix.gov/public web, to see all the units that are out there on scene. Taking a look at this one, at least 80 different units are on this scene right now. So we're talking about vehicles that are either on scene, that are dispatched, that are staged, or that might be moving to the hospital. So I don't see at the hospital highlighted yet. Right now they are staged, they're on scene, they're responding. And we have a crew on the scene right now, just arrived. These are first pictures from the scene. So you see that, we're very close to the firefighters. So the firefighters letting us be in the same area where they are. And then you also see that chain link fence, and then maybe a tower, an electrical tower right there on the left side. So that would be something that they are minding. And yeah, we are up close and a person with the firefighters right there where they are as they take breaks, 20-minute breaks in and out as they fight this very hot, very fast burning fire in this industrial area. And it looks like some of our reporters are working to try to get some information. Yeah. Is that Emma? Yeah. Emma's preparing for her hit here. So we'll be checking in with Emma as soon as she gets that information. In fact, if Emma can hear us, let us know when she's ready for us, because I know Emma's going to be talking to those firefighters and finding out what we can report from the scene right now. Yeah,
Emma's gathering more details. We'll check in with her in a minute. But you mentioned the electricity, the power lines there, and again we checked just a small power outage. If fire is burning right up to a main transmission line, they have to de-energize the line because it's so dangerous. But that is not the case here.
Well, let's talk about this question because we have Rob McDade on the line with us right now with Phoenix Fire. Rob, can you hear us?
Well, I can, yes.
Hi, Rob.
Thank you.
Well, you just heard Derek talk about electrical, and we're looking at maybe an electrical tower or something. Can you talk to us about is electricity? What is the biggest danger that you're fighting right now?
Yep, absolutely. Multiple dangers that we have to be aware of. But number one, we work hand in hand with APS. Right as our folks arrived on scene, they were aware of the electrical power lines. Not only those power lines directly above us, but we're also concerned of the power lines that get fed into the buildings. We did declare emergency traffic. You can hear the tones. And at that point in time, what we needed to do is let everybody know, be aware, treat every power line as if it's active until we start working with APS. They're a fantastic partner of ours. They know how to operate on these fire scenes. They have started shutting down every grid in that area. So again, that that was fantastic for us to get that done. And now we just need to keep our folks safe, and then we need to get we're doing a good job. We've got these elevated master streams. That's what we needed to do. And we've got the ladder trucks in place, and that's been the big difference.
And we see from our news chopper video a lot more gray smoke, Rob, rather than the dark black stuff. So as we get into about 45, 50 minutes into this firefight, it looks like your teams have been making a lot of good progress. We also spoke about, we could just see from the news helicopter that firefighters seem to be getting up close to these flames, closer than we have seen in other recent large fires. Can you talk about the strategy on this fire when you're dealing with a scrapyard?
Yes, very good point. What you saw is exactly correct. So in a perfect scenario, we'd love to keep our folks at a safe distance away in a defensive posture with the ladder streams, but we had to make that tactical decision in a very calculated manner to get those hose lines in there, because if you could see, look at those tight alleyways. It's hard to get a fire truck back in there. So we felt safe enough that we could get firefighters on hand lines, because those metal-clad roofs protect that fire from water. So we needed to get in there. We needed to horizontally hit it, and then now we're hitting it vertically from the top.
Rob, I know we only have a moment left with you before you have to get back to work. What do you want the people to know about safety and injuries to the people?
So right now we're very fortunate. We have not had any reports of injuries. What we do here is we evacuate that area, then we deny entry into the area. If you're in the area, shelter in home. You can put your air conditioning on as long as you don't feel like there's smoke coming into your home. Very well updated air conditioning systems will protect you. Shelter in home. Stay away from the area. I know there's a lot of curiosity. Watch it on the news with this coverage, this fantastic coverage you're providing. Again, we're protecting our folks, but our first priority is protecting everybody in the area. We appreciate everybody staying out of the area. We feel like we're definitely getting on top of this fire.
All right, Rob McDade, stay with us just a moment here. We're going to reset. We got a fire burning 31st Avenue in Lincoln. We've got breaking news, rolling coverage here on Arizona's Family. Arizona's Family News at 4 starts right now.
And we begin now at 4 with breaking news of this fire that we have been following. This is an industrial fire burning in Phoenix, 31st Avenue and Buckeye Road. This is where we are seeing huge flames, black smoke billowing, and we have Captain Rob McDade on the phone with us from Phoenix Fire. Rob, I see a little bit of white, trails of white smoke. That's good news, yes? Did we lose Rob? All right, let me fill you in on what's been happening. Now he's here at Dial Tone, so we're going to backtrack
He's
a little bit.
He's a busy guy. They're working hard.
He is a busy guy. So it was about 3:10 in the newsroom when we started seeing black smoke in the sky and got the chopper up in the air. Since then, we really saw this thing move across several city blocks, I would say. This is an industrial area. This is 31st Avenue and Buckeye Road. So this is something that if you were heading home from work, you may see along the I-17, along the I-10. You're going to see this. We do not know that this is a place where people are living or that they had to do a lot of evacuations. Rob McDade mentioning that they work very closely with APS because we noticed some power lines in the area alongside some of the ladder trucks, etc. So they said they were able to connect with APS, get those power lines shut down for the moment being while firefighters work. And you see those two ladder trucks right there shooting water from the air.
Yeah, they're attacking this thing from up high and also down low. Rob mentioned the iron or the steel-clad roofs complicating things because they sort of prevent them from dumping water up high. So they have to get the crews down low and sort of attack it horizontally, which I just thought was fascinating. Now, we do have, I believe, Emma Lockhart standing by live at the scene. If Emma is available, we'd love to toss to her. Emma, what are you seeing down there on the ground?
Hey guys, well right now we are just off of 30th Drive and Sherman Street, up close right near this fire. You can see those firefighters right there spraying something down. The smoke visible for miles from this area. You can see some crews, they've been resting and rotating crews because of the heat out here. But if we can turn the camera around, I just want to show some of the homes that are not far from here and a lot of the people who are just observing these fire crews battling this fire. We're told it started again in a scrap yard and then spread. Our AZ Family News chopper could see some trailers as well as cars on fire. But the good news, they are able to get close to this fire. You can see the ladders there attacking the fire. So they just blocked off this area, not allowing more people to come in. But definitely want to stay away from this area because it is dangerous. A lot of smoke in the air and the wind really picking up. But of course, we will bring you the latest as we get more information on it.
All right, Emma Lockhart live on the scene. She just arrived and she's going to continue to gather more information for us. Emma, thank you. New piece of information Emma just told us there. And as we could see, she's very close to a neighborhood right there at 30th Drive and Sherman. So if you know someone who lives in this area, you want to think of them, reach out to them, let them know. Rob McDade said to shelter inside. Air quality is an issue.
Yeah.
They would alert neighbors if they needed to evacuate. But at this point, it doesn't seem like those neighbors had been evacuated, and really not a lot of information as far as big as that looks, if anyone was inside any of those steel buildings at this time.
Yeah, we still don't know exactly who reported the fire first. Was it an employee at one of these businesses, or was it just a passerby? Speaking of passersby, a lot of people have been seeing this smoke. It's all over the West Phoenix area. People are seeing it on the I-10 and 17. We have some viewer videos coming in. This is from Richard, and you can see just sort of the scale of this thing. I mean, the plume of
That's
smoke
like a
here,
tornado.
It does, or a mushroom cloud or something. I mean, it just is an impressive amount of video, and also I guess we have another one as well that shows even more smoke. Yeah, and is that a flag that's flying right?
Yeah, so you can see the wind.
Wow. Yeah, and so Royal was saying winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Let's bring in Scene if we can. Scene, how much of a factor is the wind today?
Definitely when this fire started, you can see that plume going straight up and then starting to lay over. In fact, I've got a shot from downtown Chandler at the City Hall where you can see that haze kind of now all over the valley in the south part of the valley. So let's bring it here to the weather computer, and I'm going to kind of give you a better indication of where this fire is. You can see that smoke kind of right down on the horizon from downtown Chandler. Here it is showing up on Doppler radar. So let me give you a locator of where this is. Okay, here's I-17. This is west of I-17. This is a big, what's called a pull and part salvage yard. What you do is, if you're an auto dealer, something like me, you like to work on your own cars. These are thousands and thousands of junk cars. And here's Lincoln Avenue, here's 31st Avenue. They have a business to the north of Lincoln and to the south of Lincoln. All these junk cars, you go in, you may have the make or model, the same make or model. You need a quarter panel, you need a fender, you need maybe even a back seat. You go, you pull the part yourself, and you save a lot of money. So this is the general vicinity of this fire. Okay, we're about 1 mile west of I-17. Here's Greenwood Cemetery. That's that cemetery if you're coming in from the West Valley towards the downtown. You look to your right, that's that cemetery, this Greenwood Cemetery. This is Westland Home Site. So yeah, Jamie, there is a neighborhood 2 blocks up from this fire. So that fire smoke is moving to the northeast. So all of these homes right here, just south of Van Buren, west of I-17, you want to shelter in place like Captain Rob McDade was saying. This is about 1 mile southwest of the state capitol. There's the state capitol complex. Here's the fire right here. So this is a very dense urban area where this fire is occurring. Again, this is just north of Buckeye Road. There's I-17 westbound. That's that truck loop that kind of loops around the backside of the city, and it's about 1 mile southwest of the state capitol complex. Let's kind of zoom out and show you that it's not really showing up anymore on Doppler radar as far as that smoke plume. The winds have come down since Royal Norman was on last half hour, where they were gusting up to 15 to 17 miles an hour. Here are the wind gusts, and yeah, we just had a wind gust at Sky Harbor out of the southwest at 25, so that's helped dissipating that smoke. So yeah, that smoke is pretty heavy in that central localized area, but now as our winds start to increase, that's going to start to spread out that smoke a little bit better for the atmosphere. Currently 108 at Sky Harbor, and I'm going to leave you guys with this graphic right here. I'm going to step off. Remember, firefighters have 50 to 60 pounds of gear on. They can sweat a gallon of sweat, a gallon worth of water per hour. That's why they're on for a maximum in this heat when it's over 100, a maximum of 10 minutes, and then they're off to get some cooling relief. That's why you see some of those firefighters with the just their t-shirts on. They've got those heavy turnouts that coat off to try to get some cool relief. And it looks like they're attacking there on the right side of your screen, Derek and Jamie, from the air, because again, this is a very hot, intensive day weather-wise, and this fire, because that's that junk cars, there's a metal salvage area, salvage company right there in that same city block. This is burning very hot.
Sean, you've been in the valley for a very long time. You've covered fires in the heat with the wind. You mentioned winds 10 to 15. Did the wind pick up since then?
It looks like the winds have picked up since Royal was talking to you last half hour, which is typical in the afternoon, evening hours from 3 to 6 p.m. We'll generally have some pretty strong winds because it's the hottest part of the day, and then as the sun sets, the winds will start to settle down. So the good thing is that the winds are starting to kind of dissipate this smoke pretty rapidly, and it's also good that the firefighters are putting a lot of water on this at this point.
So the wind is helpful.
Yes.
At this point.
At this point.
Okay.
At this
okay.
point.
Well, that's good news.
Good stuff.
That is good news.
As we've been talking, this fire was upgraded to a 4-alarm fire, meaning more firefighters, more assistance to attack this thing. And we do also now have a new guest with us over the phone. Jay is a business owner in this area. Jay, tell us where are you and what can you see on this fire?
So I'm just outside the business. There's and right in front of Icon Equipment. So let me see.
Jay, what's the name of that business?
JG's Recycling, where I work at. I'm in front of Icon Equipment, and I could. Well, most of the fire has been taken down.
And Jay, is the business where you work, is that one is it burning as well, or are you just nearby?
Oh no, it's like right behind us and right to the side of us. So that's what got on fire. Our business got lucky and didn't get anywhere near there.
So do you know if anyone was inside that business that is burning right now?
Well, I saw some people coming out from. I saw like a bunch of cars come out of there. I'm not sure if those were the people from that business or the people that live around there.
Got it. And so you're right next door to this business that's burning. Can you give us a sense of what they do here? Obviously, it's like some sort of a scrap yard. They sell used vehicles and things, parts.
Yeah, they have a bunch of cars, and that's what we kept on hearing. They just got on fire. What I heard from some people is that the power line is what caught on fire, which is what set some of the area there.
Okay, and so can you tell me a little bit about? Did you have to get evacuated at JJ Recycling?
Yes, we had to evacuate the moment we saw it. They called us and told us to move our cars and everything, so they could so the firefighters could move and get inside in case they need to.
Tell me about the air quality. Is it difficult to breathe, and where are you now?
So right in front of us, there's a business, Icon Equipment, and the firefighter source just park inside of there, so we would be safe in case in case if it got bigger, we wouldn't get in.
Right.
Gotcha.
So they wouldn't get set on fire as well.
They moved you nearby, but just away from the immediate danger. Tell us a little bit about when you first noticed this fire this afternoon. What did you see?
So I was attending to a customer, so I wasn't really paying attention to the back. My coworker is the one that he jumped out. He screamed because he screamed at me to finish my work fast so we could just get out of here because he just saw the fire and just. Because we weren't even paying attention, we were just sitting down. He was just sitting down and talking to somebody, and I was in front. So we didn't see what happened at the exact moment, but we heard from the people that came out behind it that it was a power line that caught on fire.
Oh, so you believe this is happening at Icon Equipment, and that a power line sparked this thing?
No, Icon Equipment is all right.
Okay. All right. So we are. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your time today. Stay safe out there and be careful with the air quality as well. Is it difficult to breathe? Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to continue to monitor this multiple industrial fires burning about 31st Avenue and Buckeye Road. We'll be right back, Arizona.
Large industrial fire burning in West Phoenix now has been upgraded to a 4-alarm fire. And just moments ago, we got our first clue as to the start of this fire. Captain Rob McDade with Phoenix Fire says this was initially reported as a grass fire. So it gives you a sense, maybe some sort of burning brush spread to this scrapyard.
Right.
Can't really quite make that extrapolation, but it's an interesting clue.
Yeah. So we know the call came in as a grass fire. Emma Lockhart is on the scene there. She is live with a look from the ground. Emma, what are you seeing and what are firefighters telling you out there?
Hey guys, well, we are not far from that scrapyard where the fire is burning. I'll step out of the way so you can get a closer look. A lot of fire crews here right now, a lot of them taking a break because they have to rotate crews because it is so hot. But good news, just over the last 30 minutes since I've been here, it really does look like the smoke is dissipating, but it is extremely hot out here and the wind is strong. But you could see fire crews, they are attacking this fire from ladders. So that is good as well. But what's really scary is for a lot of people who live not far from here, if we can pan the camera around and just show our viewers how close we are to a neighborhood. A lot of these people outside watching this fire, this area not evacuated, so these homes are not being threatened to our understanding, but still very scary to see these flames and this smoke so close to them. But the good news, a lot of that smoke dissipating. We know that there have been no reported injuries. We did see on our AZ Family News Chopper that some trailers as well as cars were burning. So crews up against a lot in this heat. It is extremely hot out here, and we have seen a lot of crews standing by, just waiting, drinking water, hydrating, and resting, and then going back in to fight this fire. But I'll send it back to you guys for now.
Emma, in the background of your shot, we can hear some, what sounds like very heavy equipment, possibly chainsaws or something. Can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they are trying to get into, but it does seem like they are breaking down, using a chainsaw to get through this fence right here. There was a small fire burning there that they sprayed and it went out, but not sure exactly what their tactic is, but it looks like they're trying to get into this fence where that fire is not burning too far from.
All right, Emma Lockhart live for us on the scene. Thank you so much. We have a witness on the phone with us right now. James is on the line. James, where were you when this fire broke out, and where are you now?
We were actually downtown when we saw the smoke, so we just started driving towards the scene. But just tons and tons of black smoke billowing into the air, and gosh, I don't know. We must have seen 50 units with fire and rescue. But yeah, very poor visibility, but lots and lots of smoke, and it's scary because there's lots of residential around the area. So, and it seems like everything's in tight quarters.
James, it sounds like you're familiar with this area. Do you live or work nearby this fire?
I do not. Actually, we're out in Paradise Valley. We just driven downtown to get some sweets at the bakery that we like downtown. So, but yeah, no, it's pretty bad. Now the wind's blowing really hard, so it's making everything, like I said, visibility just very poor.
Yeah, very poor, and a lot of people who are neighborhoods who are nearby and neighbors that are standing and watching, and you were able to see this from downtown, and that's really what caught your eye, was just how from far away you were able to see this thing, and James drove toward it. So we don't, James, don't do that next time. While we appreciate the call, don't do that next time. Anything that really alarmed you about this fire?
Just the close proximity of the homes. Honestly, you can tell it's an industrial area, but lots of, looks like private residences, very, very densely populated in that area.
Yeah, okay.
But lots of people walking, lots of people trying to see what's going on.
And that's obviously a complicating factor for firefighters. They want to keep people away. James, we appreciate the call. Thank you so much for the info. And as we look out now at the screen, what you're seeing on screen right now is video, I believe. We do not have the chopper. The chopper had to land temporarily because they have to do things like refuel. But this is video from earlier. Since this video was taken, I don't know, maybe this was 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, it seems like firefighters have made significant progress. Part of the equation, of course, has to do with the winds. We have some viewer video as well we want to show you of the scope of the smoke earlier on. But it seems like maybe the wind out there has cooperated a little bit. Scene, let's bring in Scene now with more on that.
Right, you don't want gusty winds when a fire starts because then you get spotting downwind from the fire. But when a fire is getting hit with water from up above, down on the ground, you want the smoke to dissipate fairly quickly so it doesn't settle into those nearby neighborhoods. And yeah, the winds have picked up a bit. It's also a little bit warmer than it was the last hour. Royal just came in and gave me the day's high was 111. So it's been very, very warm. Here's another look at it. The smoke has significantly improved from just an hour ago. A lot of white smoke. There was that thick black column of smoke. So when you add in the fire intensity, that rising heat, it can really column up and really reach pretty far in the sky. But now it's kind of laying down and it's white, which is actually pretty good. It's not settling down into a neighborhood, or it's not spotting the fire to the north and to the east from where that wind was blowing from the southwest. Let's take a look at Doppler radar. It's no longer, that smoke plume no longer showing up on Doppler radar, which is another indication that the winds have increased and kind of dissipated that smoke plume from just about an hour ago. But you could see that from all across the valley. In fact, I was picking it up from the municipal building in downtown Chandler. So there's that fire located just west of I-17. There's Greenwood Cemetery. Here's the state capitol complex. So it's about a mile plus to the southwest of the state capitol, just a mile west of I-17. And again, yeah, that Doppler radar has now not shown that smoke plume. It's right here, right between 31st and Lincoln, right in this general vicinity. There's a lot of salvage, spare parts area, and that smoke plume was blowing to the northeast, right across the cemetery, right across the state capitol, just within this last half hour, and that smoke has pretty much dissipated. Again, it's about a mile to the southwest of the state capitol complex. The peak wind gust last hour was 25 miles an hour, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Here's the bigger issue for the firefighters on the ground. It is hot, still 108 in that general vicinity, so that means they got to be on for 10 minutes and then off for about 30 plus to cool off. As far as our weather story, the headline today is we've added to our excessive heat. It's now an excessive heat warning instead of a watch. We've added another day, Friday through Sunday. So we have first alert through the entire weekend. There's our high today of 111. The record was 113, so we were only 2 degrees off that record. The heat and humidity, or the dew point and the humidity levels are starting to drop. Winds are out of the southwest, sustained at 8 miles an hour. There has been some good rain up in the high country. Temperatures in the mid 60s up there right now. There's the sustained wind speeds, just under 10 miles an hour through the dinner time, and then really starting to kind of fall off after that. Our futurecast makes it look to be a dry part 2 heat wave, which means we've got drier air coming in. All the chances of rain will push off to the north and to the east through tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're going to have a clear blue sky, and it is going to be a hot weekend ahead. As we head into Thursday, we're going to warm up to 112 in the back to the 80s for Flagstaff, still in the triple digits for Tucson. And here's a quick look at your 7-day forecast. We've got first alerts for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for excessive heat. And if you're just joining us, Derek and Jamie, on the right-hand side, that's our continuing team coverage of this large industrial fire that kicked out about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, it is now a 4-alarm fire, which means 80 plus units on the scene there.
Yeah, we've been following this now for more than an hour. Arizona's family is all over this. We're going to bring you more coverage right after the break. Stay with us. Arizona's Family News at 4 continues.